Good evening, everyone. We'll see if anyone shows up tonight for this live operating off of a little tablet that unfortunately doesn't give me the same functionality as I said before. It doesn't give me the same functionality that my laptop normally does. And so scheduling the live is problematic. I think I can do it, but it's too hard. The screen glitches on me. I have fat fingers, and this is only a small tablet about that big. And so you have to be very precise. I try and do it with my pinky, and it doesn't always work. I've got, I think, Danny here. And is my screen oriented in the right fashion? Unfortunately, I'm trying to do it in landscape fashion, but then the comments as they come up, they're written that way. So I kind of have to read them little askance. Rotation needed. Okay, so let's do this and see if that works. Is that better, Danny? Let me know. Is that rotation working now? Danny, if you could let me know. I think you're the only one here at this precise moment. Amen. Okay, I'm taking that to mean that it's working. We're coming to the end of 2024. It's December 27th. It's 9:40. I don't have a clock on here. I'm going to look up. Can't see the clock on the wall. It's sideways. I like my laptop so much better, but orientation is locked. Rotate. Looks like I have it upside down in a fashion. Sorry for all the technical glitches with low tech there. Can you still see me? Looks great. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Okay. Still good. Good. All right. I'm going to tell a joke to start off with. And it's nothing profane. It's got a twist at the end. Most good jokes will have a twist at the end. But before I get going, let me do candy. I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to get into some heavy stuff about everything going on in the world. But before I do that, let's do candy. Shake, lay down, speak. There we go. Come on up. Say hi. And Danny's saying hi to Candy. Candy had a good day today. She got out to the tobogganing hill. I took the little guy. This time I did not go down the hill. Last time I pushed it a little too far. Went down once in the seated position with the big guy sitting in front of me. And then the next time I decided to lay down on my stomach. And I said, climb on my back. And we went about 5, maybe 10 feet at most when I realized that this was not a particularly good idea. Anyway, let me tell the joke to start off with a joke I heard many years ago about a very young couple in their early 20s. I can't read the names. Cryptomeria is here. Okay. Talking about Trudeau. Yeah, I didn't do a Trudeau. Trudeau was out at a ski resort in BC and was cutting the lines and everything with his security detail and annoying everyone. And a woman, a video is now going viral of a woman who approached Trudeau with her cell phone in hand, I have to assume. And she said, Mr. Prime Minister. And he turned around very friendly. Yes. And he held out his hand. She shook it. And she said, get the F out of BC. No one wants you, or something like that. Short little video. It was fantastic. And Trudeau just said, have a nice day, and turned around and walked away. But anyway, let me get onto this joke. So a very young couple in their early 20s, we'll say 22 years of age or so, just gotten married, and they've had their honeymoon. They've come back from their honeymoon. They're living their lives, working their jobs. And the husband's at work one day when he gets a call informing him that his wife has been in a horrific car accident and to get to the hospital as quickly as possible. So he races to the hospital. He's there in an hour or so. He's ushered into a waiting room, told that his wife is in the operating theater, and he's waiting for over 2 hours. And finally, the surgeon comes out of the operating room, takes the young man, takes him into a consulting room, sits him down. The surgeon's exhausted. He says, I've just spent over 3 hours operating on your wife. This is one of those situations where there's good news and bad news. I'm exhausted. 3 hours standing over your wife, and I've had my rounds before that. I'm really tired. I'm just going to give you the bad news right off the bat. He says, your wife suffered a severed spinal cord. He said, I don't know how much medical training, how much medical knowledge you have, but that means that she's lost all motor function below the neck. She is a quadriplegic. She cannot move her hands or his feet or her feet. And he asks the kid, he says, now, do you have any supplemental health insurance? The kid's, trying to process all this. He's stunned. He says, no. And the surgeon's like, oh my. He goes, look, your life has changed forever. Your wife is going to need help with all of what are called the activities of daily living, or the ADLs for short. I'm talking about dressing, bathing, feeding, toileting, everything. Again, no motor function beneath the neck. But with that being said, she's going to live a long life. Your wife was very healthy. She could be in this state for the next 30, 40, maybe even 50 years. It's not unusual for young, healthy people like your wife to live even 50 years in this state. And because you don't have supplemental health insurance, the government health plans and such, they'll cover some, but a lot of this is going to fall on you. And this is what you're looking at for the next 30 to 50 years. And the kid is just in shock. He's, trying to process it all. He just got married, and now his wife is a quadriplegic. He's trying to sort through everything. And finally, he kind of snaps to, and he comes out of the fog, and he goes, wait. At the beginning, you said this was a situation with good news and bad news, and this is the bad news. You gave me the bad news first, but where's the good news in this? How can there be any good news? And the surgeon looks at him and says, look, kid, I'm just messing with you. She died. Bad joke. Sorry. Let's see. I saw some comments going up, but I couldn't read them. And now I can't get them. Oh, here, live chat. Sheesh. Ha ha ha. All right. All right. It looks like we got a number of people here now. I see Sharunian, Cryptomeria. I can't make out all the names. The lighting is poor. I tried to improve the lighting. I think the screen is somewhat dimmed for whatever reason. Oh man, I'm looking so much forward. It should be next week that I get the laptop back, and I probably won't do another live until then. But sorry for the joke. It's an old one that I heard years ago. It works better in person, and I only tell that one to guys. Women doesn't work as well. But I'm just looking at the world the way it is right now. And as we end out the year, as we end out 2024, we've got war or happening everywhere. The situation in Syria has not completely settled out. And then all the bordering nations, when you unsettle one country, it spills over into all the neighboring countries. It's been, so Syria still has to be sorted out. Lebanon, Israel is still operating in Lebanon. That ceasefire is basically a non-ceasefire. Yemen is now launching ballistic missiles into Israel. They've launched them into Tel Aviv and the Jaffa, the area around Tel Aviv, and the Israelis have responded with massive bombings against ports and infrastructure in Yemen. So, of course, that implicates Israel. Now we got Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Israel. Then you have the situation just across the Red Sea from Saudi Arabia and Sudan. They're embroiled in a civil war now. The ongoing situation in Russia and Ukraine. You talk about wars and rumors of wars. It's all artificial. Don't get too caught up on it. Fair enough. Fair enough. The comment is it's all superficial. It's all meant to distract, and that's certainly a valid point of view. It's a huge passing. Oh, I got to pick it up and read. It's a huge. Oh man, I hate this tablet. It's a huge passing contest. I'll use the word passing instead of what you wrote, Danny. What's more important is the morality of humanity at the moment. Our morality is almost up for sale. It's almost morality in this world is almost non-existent. And I'm going to get to that more as I get to the last point. So we've got plenty of the wars and rumors of wars going on. We have political unrest throughout the world. And in my own native Canada, we've got a situation where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, is he going to stay or is he going to go? Are we going to have an early election call or a late election call? So we have political unrest, political uncertainty, certainly in Canada. The Canadian dollar is tanking against other world currencies, especially the US dollar, and that's to be expected because currencies trade based on feelings. The value of currency in a large way is based on emotion. How do people feel about the country? How do people feel about the economic prospects for a country? And because Canada's political situation is tenuous at best, investors are not going to be buying Canadian dollars, and that sends the value of our currency down, and it diminishes the purchasing power of Canadians and our debt service. A lot of times that means the amount of money that the federal government has to pay just to pay interest on the debt can also increase as a result of a plummeting dollar. But it's not just Canada. France is embroiled in a similar type situation. No one knows how their political system is going to sort itself out after the next election. Same thing in Germany. We've got South Korea with their president or prime minister declaring martial law and then pulling back and talking about imposing martial law again. I was just reading an article today on a year-end interview with everyone's favorite person, Theresa Tam, Canada's Chief Medical Officer of Health. It's hard to believe she's still in that position. I would hope that with a new government that she will be replaced. I'm just trying to catch up and read what's being written, and what you see is a byproduct of national citizens being systematically broken down, mentally, physically, spiritually, and morally. That's being written by someone named Kay. And I think, it is 100% absolutely by design. We talk about often on this channel about the World Economic Forum's Great Reset agenda and how Agenda 2030, Agenda 2035, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, we are in a time of flux where the old system is being torn down and they're trying to bring about a new system. I'm going to avoid the acronym that everyone knows. The last word is order. The first word is new. Just because I think the algorithms suppress things that use that acronym or those words. Yes, and I think it's Kay wrote down the actual acronym in the comment section. Bingo. And these transitionary periods can often be tumultuous. There can be revolution. You look at what happened in Russia after the Bolshevik Revolution, after Tsarist Russia collapsed and the Bolsheviks took over, and with Lenin, and then followed by Stalin, and the horrendous upheaval that happened in the old Russian Empire that later would become the Soviet Union. And lots of political unrest. But getting back to Theresa Tam, she's saying that and she's dialed in. She's on the World Health Organization's guiding steering committee. She signed a non-disclosure agreement, so she's more beholden to this globalist entity, the World Health Organization, than she is to Canada as a nation or to its citizens. She's owned by a globalist body called the World Health Organization. She won't tell us what happens within the confines of their closed door meetings. But what she is saying to us, it does, I think, serve us well to at least pay attention to what's coming out of her mouth, because in a fashion, there was a video that had circulated that before COVID that had warned about so many things that were brought in during COVID, about the measures that they would employ in the event of a declared pandemic. And many of those, thankfully, it didn't get as bad as she had predicted, but it got pretty darn close with that vaccine passport. And I'm trying to read what's being written. Unfortunately, it's too far away. Don't think about that too much. Don't think out loud too much. I agree with what Danny's saying, Trader. And I know they're watching, Kay. I think that's your name. I think that's the handle you're using. And I have Kath. Gosh, I can't. Kath Wilson. Greetings. I hope everyone enjoyed. Man, keeping up with the chat is getting difficult. And I have to pick up this tablet to be able to read what's being written on the screen. Everyone's saying evening to each other. So what she's highlighting as the number one primary concern is H1N. I think it's H5N1. This bird flu, that all that needs to happen at this point. She's saying not to be worried about, not to be overly concerned, but to be aware of it, which echoes somewhat the messaging that we were receiving in January of 2020 and February, that, yeah, COVID, you should be aware of it, but don't be overly concerned. That was the messaging back at the start of 2020. And then look what happened within 2-3 months. They shut down the entire world. And so now she's similar messaging surrounding H5N1 around bird flu, saying, yes, be aware, but don't be overly concerned. We'll let you know. We'll advise you. Messages aren't showing up. I will have next week, I will have my laptop back, and the functionality will be better. It will still be a very dressed down miserable, pathetic little station like it always has been. I like that. I like just keeping things bare bones, basic, and simple, because to me, it speaks to a level of authenticity. There's so much out there right now. There's so much content on YouTube that I think is absolutely 100% AI generated, which I'm going to get onto. There's, and some of it's easy to spot, but some of it I think is a little more difficult. And I fully imagine that AI could replicate myself and my voice and my mannerisms. The one thing that I've never seen AI do, and it occurred to me because I do it a fair bit in my videos, right there, I cough. And you never see an AI bot coughing or wiping the nose or sniffing, and that kind of thing. And anyway, I mean, that Danny's putting down my favorite words. Jesus is King. We just celebrated the incarnation. That's when the Word became flesh. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jesus is the Word made flesh. When it says in the Bible that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, the word that is used for the creation is ruah. And God said, well, that word, and God said, let there be light. That word said is ruah, and it's a fashion, it's breathing into existence. I can't read without picking this up. Never trust these politicians. That's good advice for any season. Always be suspect of those in authority, because the question is, are they owned? Are they a fifth column? Are they beholden to powers that are running counterproductive to the interests and well-being of Canadian citizens? And you should, same thing for Americans or Europeans or anyone in the so-called democratic world. Are political leaders, political figures, are they owned by and working at counter purposes to what citizens actually want and need? And they're not always serving our best interests. So we've got we've got war, we've got political unrest, we have all this constant background noise about the potential for another health crisis, even though I in all honesty, I'm still waiting for the first health crisis. I had a thought going on. I'm seeing a lot more masks on people's face within the last couple weeks, and I'm starting to view masks as the tinfoil hats. You talk about, people would always say, "Oh, tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, not very bright, stupid individual." Well, when I see a mask, I'm going, well, there's a tinfoil hat wearing moron with not too many brain cells to rub together, because masks are ridiculous. They're just absolutely, it's a medical PPE that people treat like they're car keys, shoving them in and out of their pockets, pawing over them constantly. It's medical PPE needing to be handled and worn in a sterile fashion, and people treat it like a pair of safety glasses or safety shoes or safety gloves. No sterility whatsoever. And all they're doing is you're breathing on a mask for hours on end, and it's warm, it's damp, it's a breeding ground for pathogens, microbes, bacteria. It's a petri dish, and then people touch it constantly, and then they touch all manner of common surfaces. And if there are compromised people around, great way to spread your crap all over the place. But I see the eyes of the people wearing masks, and they're dumb and they're scared, and they figure, well, it's better than doing nothing. It's like someone with a teaspoon with a gaping hole in their boat and shoveling the water out with their teaspoon. Well, they're doing something, better than doing nothing. Well, better work on clogging the hole rather than trying to spoon out the water. Forget, masks just drive me crazy. N95 were made of old growth forests. Oh, masks. Personally, when it comes to the whole climate change narrative, that's all it is to me. It's a story, the climate change story. But having clean air, clean soil, clean water, these are good things. And not polluting our environment with plastics is a good thing. And mask wearing idiots, you see masks on the ground all the time. So many of them end up in landfills. So many end up in our oceans because the people wearing masks are just selfish morons who only care about themselves, and they don't even know how to wear or handle the things properly 99% of the time. So, and I work with people who wear masks, and I do voice my opinions, not to them directly, but I'm sure it's gotten around to them. I've gotten stink eye a few times, but I don't care too much anymore. But the last thing is, and I've talked about this a few times now, it's kind of dying down in the news, and we'll see. Maybe it's just going to fade into background noise. But the whole situation with the drones over New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York City, and in other states as well. I think there were reports in Hawaii and Utah and other U.S. states. I've gone out for a couple walks at night, down to Lake Ontario, which is about a 5-minute walk to a bay that is attached to Lake Ontario, Brighton Bay. And I've been scanning the skyline, wondering, am I going to see any drones? And I haven't seen any. I haven't seen anything unusual in the sky. But the stories behind the drones don't really line up. There was a mayor of a New Jersey city who was being interviewed by Forbes on their YouTube channel. And he was talking about the fact that they're getting no answers from the state government, no answers from the federal government as to what's going on. There was speculation that they might be seeking out radioactive material. There was apparently a shipper container, one of those container type things that had been damaged or broken into, one or the other or both, and it was missing some type of radioactive isotope used in cancer research or radiation therapy or something of that description. But then the story flipped, and they said that the radioactive material had been found and that it had been lost by FedEx. And it's like, well, wait a minute. FedEx was shipping over a container? And the story just didn't make sense to me. FedEx was sending this stuff by a container and it was broken into, and the material went missing, but now they located it. That just seemed a little contrived to me, a little bit. It just didn't, that story didn't add up. But it seemed that it was a story that they were giving to, lend some plausibility to why are you seeing all this activity in the skies over New Jersey and neighboring states? Why all this activity? And I still don't know the reason why. I still don't, I'm not going to. I've come across a number of videos. One was unredacted with a former FBI field agent. He had opinions on it, seems to think it may be a foreign player, and that there are entities within the US federal government that are beholden to foreign powers. I think everyone will know which foreign power is the one that's most concerning, and that they may have infiltrated, U.S. agencies, who knows, the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, and more. And so it just makes things impossible to know the truth. But at the end of it all, what everything comes back to, I think, in my mind, is what I think is probably the biggest concern, and that's AI. And I think we're living in an AI world now. There's on Google has now without asking, without any fanfare. It just all of a sudden, I think it's called Gemini or something, I forget. You know, Google is now using an AI application, and I haven't found out how to disable it. And AI is becoming pervasive in our world. And I wonder, when it comes to the drones, if there's an AI component to that. Are these being run by artificial intelligence? When we look at the health crises that are taking place in the world, how much is AI going to play into any response to a health crisis that is foisted upon us? And AI can be used in application for battlefield, for war. So then the war is going on between Russia and Ukraine, throughout the Middle East. Is AI going to be playing a part? And then we could have Russia's AI systems competing against and combating with Western, Ukrainian and Western AI systems, Chinese AI systems. And what's the biggest problem confronting this world right now? There's a large number of people, not a majority, but a large number of people, and people who are very wealthy, powerful, and influential. There are a lot of this, they will refer to themselves as the elite, who believe the most pressing concern facing planet Earth is that there are too many people chasing too few resources, that the planet's natural resources are in diminishing supply, and that there are too many people living on the planet chasing, consuming these resources. And I have to wonder, will AI be used to rectify this problem? And the problem is AI doesn't have a soul, it's programmed. And if it's programmed to find a solution to a given problem, if the ultimate objective is the resolution and the solving of that problem, does AI have ethical, moralistic concerns, or does it only concern itself with achieving the end it has been programmed or told, instructed to achieve? The biggest problem facing this planet is that there are too many people chasing too few and resources that are diminishing as they get consumed. How do we solve this problem? AI. And then AI will come up with a solution. But that solution may be one which humanity would have moral and ethical issues with implementing, but AI wouldn't. So that's my big concern as we head into 2025, is we're seeing AI incrementally enter our day-to-day lives. And I think it's already operating in the background, behind the curtain, so to speak, in ways that we're not even aware of. And AI is going to be, I would invite you to watch What Do You Meme? What Do You Meme is the name of the station. I don't know the gentleman's name who runs it, but he just dropped a video within the last 2-3 days on this subject. Highlights how a young kid just took God's ultimate gift and ended himself because after having fallen in love, quote unquote, with an AI bot. This world is getting scary. But those of us, if you abide in Jesus Christ, what you realize is, what you'll come to know, is that this life is not the end. We're living on a temporal plane right now, but temporal means temporary. Jesus went ahead to prepare an eternal home for us with our Father in heaven. And when you know that you have a place in heaven waiting for you, prepared for you, the challenges of this world dissipate. You can put up with, doesn't mean it's still pleasant, doesn't mean it's still good, Doesn't mean it doesn't get on your nerves. Doesn't mean you want Trudeau to stick around. But abiding in that knowledge that we are not home and that we are headed home helps to endure, because the Bible says we're to endure until the end. I'm going to end my message there. I'm going to end my video there. Gone on long enough, 35, 34 minutes, whatever it is. I can't wait to get my laptop back. As I say, next week, early in the new year, early in 2025, we'll see what the world is like. I don't think we're going to see anything radical in the very near term. But I do think we're just going to see incrementally creep, playing whack-a-mole, trying to determine, what's important. Well, if you're looking for the ultimate importance, get into this book, this collection of books, this library of books called the Bible. Get into relationship with Jesus Christ. Invite him into your heart. And even if we face the days of Noah, we'll be abiding safely while the storm is raging all around us. So God bless. I'll end it the way I like to end it. From the book of Numbers, not my words. Receive these words. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. And may the Lord grant you peace. And as I always say, he will. Invite him in. God bless. We'll talk to you all soon. Night.